Hello, students. It's Dr. Miller back with you again, and I'm going to show you how to run a correlation in SPSS. By now, you should have made a data set, and if you did, it looks a little bit like this, where you have two pages, a variable view page and a data view page. So the variable view page has all your variables in it. If I wanted to put in another variable, I would just go to this box, type it in. This stuff is just formatting stuff. You don't need to worry about it. You can put in the survey question here. You can say how it was coded in here. And then the only other thing you need to worry about is how did it get measured? Okay, so once you have your variables built in SPSS, you can put in your data. And down here, there's another window. There's variable view and data view. If you go to data view, these are all your surveys. So each row in this data set is a survey, okay? Usually your data is going to look like this, just numbers, the way you coded it. So like person number 11, they're coded for their educational, the perception of their educational quality. They gave it a 1, meaning they don't think they had a very good education, because remember, it was set up on a scale of 1 to 10. They don't feel all that ready for college. They gave that a 2. They said they had 2 resources in their high school, something like, AP classes, labs, extra stuff, right? Their ethnicity was a 1 that was coded as white, and their gender was a 1 that was coded as male. They said they were working class and they were 45 years old. Okay, so here's all the ages of the people in your survey. Here's all their answers to the social class variable. Here's all their answers to the gender variable. And here the ethnicity. So each row is a separate survey. Okay, and these are the variables from the survey. All right, so hopefully everyone has sort of gotten to that point, but let's look at how you actually do a correlation. It's pretty easy. First, we're going to get the scatter plot. So you go to graphs. Let me shut this little window over here. You go to graphs. You go down to scatter / dot. You click on it. You say, give me a simple scatter. You define it. And the way you define it is, let me reset it, is you grab the 2 variables you want to correlate. So this one, how do you perceive the quality of your high school education? And what is your perceived, how do you perceive your readiness for college? Okay, so this variable is how do you perceive your education? This one is how do you perceive how ready you were for college? Those are the 2 variables you're going to correlate, and you're going to start by doing a scatter plot. So if I say okay, that is going to pop up a scatter plot that looks like this. Okay. Now, you also want to run a correlation. You want to get the numbers. You want to get the R. The way you do that is you go to Analyze, Correlate, Bivariate, click on it. It's going to bring up this little window right here. And you're just going to put the 2 variables you want to correlate in there. So quality of education and college readiness. Okay. So then you just hit okay. And there's your correlation right there. So I'm going to tell you how to understand and read this data so that you can describe it in your SPSS Lab 2 report. One thing that's really important when you do this is you want to make sure that the variables you correlate, right? The variables you correlate are both scale variables or interval ratio variables. This is the scatter plot. So along this axis, it says, how do you perceive your college readiness on a scale of 1 to 10? Every one of these dots is how people answered that question. Along this side is how do you perceive the quality of your high school on a scale of 1 to 10? So what these dots represent is each person's answer on both questions. So for example, this person who said that their college readiness was a 7, between 6 and 8, right? It was a 7. They said that their high school quality was a 1. So that tells you where that person answered both of the questions. If you look way up here, this dot, it says that college readiness is a 9, right? And how they perceive their high school education is, well, actually college readiness is a 10, and how they perceive their high school quality is a 9, okay? It may sound a little confusing. Let me do a couple more. This dot right here is a person who said that their college readiness was a 5. See on this scale down here, there's 5, there it is. And they said that their high school quality was a 6. So that dot represents where that person lands on both variables. That's why it's a correlation. Now, if you look at this scatter plot, you can start to see a pattern, a relationship, right? You can see a positive relationship because as people report higher college readiness, they also tend to report higher quality high school educations, right? It's not a perfect correlation, right? If it were a perfect correlation, the line of dots would go straight up, right? But you can see there is a pattern that people tend to perceive that their college readiness at the same time that they perceive their high school quality education. And the higher they say they feel ready for college, the higher they say the quality of their high school was. Okay, so that's the scatter plot. It's just a picture of a correlation. This would be a positive correlation because you could begin to see the linear pattern with the dots. And now let's take a look at the output, the actual R, the correlation numbers. Here it is. Now, this can be very confusing, students, because it gives you a lot more information than you actually need. This is what we call a matrix. So across the top are the two variables you're correlating, and along the side, going along the side, are the same two variables. So this first one, how do you perceive the quality of your high school education, is being correlated with how do you perceive the quality of your high school education, right? It's something being correlated against itself. So it has a correlation of 1, and it's not useful at all for us. This one, the only thing you need to pay attention on this output are these 3, I wish I could highlight it, are these 3 boxes right here. That's what you need to pay attention to. So let me explain. This is correlating perceptions of high school quality with perceptions of college readiness. And the correlation, the R, is 0.526, okay? So if you remember, when you correlate, it's got to fall somewhere on the scale of 0 to 1, or 0 to -1 if the correlation is negative. This is a positive correlation. The R is 0.526. And that's moderate on that scale of 1 to 1, or 0 to 1. It's about halfway up that scale, right? But note that it says it's significant. It has these little asterisks here. Whenever it has that, that's telling you you have a significant correlation. And if you go down here, you can see those, it's directing you here to say correlation is significant at the 0.01 level for a two-tailed test, okay? So when you look at this box, don't be confused. The only thing that you need to take out of a correlation where you just have 2 variables are these 3 pieces of information right here. The R, the correlation, the N, you have 100 people in this study, and the significance. Those are the only 3 pieces of information that matter, because this down here just repeats the exact same information. These are the same, right? And these are the same. So you can get rid of everything in here except these 3 values and report that. So for this correlation, you would say that there is a significant correlation that's positive between high school quality perceptions of high school education and perceptions of college readiness. And that, in fact, it's significant at the 0.01 level, meaning that as people tend to report higher levels of college readiness, they also report higher levels of quality high school educations. And really, students, it's as simple as that. Don't be intimidated by this, because SPSS is going to give you more information than you need. For this, you're just looking to find the R and the N, and you're looking to get the scatter plot, and you're looking to explain it. So hopefully this helps a little bit. That's it.